Welcome back, viewers. Today I want us to look at trigonometric graphs and see the questions that are normally tested in such graphs. In question 7, you're told to complete the table given below by filling in the blank boxes. So the table has a range of values from 0 up to 180, and then the functions 3 cos x and 4 sine 2x minus 10. So some values are missing and we are going to fill in those missing values. And then taking 1 centimeter to represent 15 degrees on the x-axis and 2 centimeters to represent 1 unit on the y-axis. Draw the graph of y is equals to 3 cos x and y is equals to 4 sine 2x minus 10 using the same axis on the graph provided. Use your graph to find the value of x, for which 3 cos x is equals to 4 sine 2x minus 10. So we're going to use our calculator to get these values and then give them correct to 2 decimal places. So the first value, 3 times the cos of 15, you can multiply 3 times cos 15, that gives you 2.8977, round off that, you'll get this as 2.90. 2.90, like that. And then the other value is 3 times the cos of 45, 2.12. 3 times cos 75, 0.78. 3 times cos 120, negative 1.5. 3 times cos 135, negative 2.12. 3 times cos 150, negative 2.6. 3 times cos 165, negative 2.9. And then the last value is given. Let's go to the second function, 4 sine 2x minus 10. So 2x means 2 multiplied by the value of x minus 10. So this is 30 times 2 gives you 60, minus 10, 50. So 4 times the sine of 50, that gives you 3.06. And then the other one is 4 times the sine of, this is 150 minus 10. 150 minus 10 is 140. So 4 times the sine of 140, that gives you 2.57. The other one, 105 times 2 to 10 minus 10, 200. 4 times the sine of 200, that gives you negative 1.37. And then this is 135 times 2 270, 270 minus 10 to 60, 4 times the sine of 260, negative 3.94. And then finally 165 times 2, that gives you 330. 330 minus 10, 320. 4 times the sine of 320, that gives you negative 2.57. Having done that, we now need to get a graph paper. It will be provided to you, and we plot these two functions. So I already have my graph paper. First, remember, very, very important, write the scale, top right hand corner. We were given x-axis 1 centimeter to represent 15 degrees, and on the y-axis 1 centimeter to represent 2 units. So already have it on the x-axis, 0 up to 180. So here, remember to put this as the x-axis. On the y-axis, I have 0 up to 4 units. How did I arrive at that? Consider the values given on the table. On the x-axis, 0 up to 180 is the greatest value. On the y-axis, or on the other functions, the greatest value is close to positive 4, and the minimum value is close to negative 4. Again, close to positive 4 and close to negative 4. So up to positive 4 and negative 4. Now we can engage in plotting these values, and we can start with the function 3 cos x. When x is 0, the value of 3 cos x is 3. So we have 0, put a mark where 3 is. 3 is up here. Put a mark there. When x is 15, 3 cos x is 2.9. According to the scale, 2.9 will be 2 small squares below 3. So put a mark here. When x is 30, 2.6. When x is 30, 2.6. 2.6 will be 1 square above 2.5. This is where we have 2.5. So 1 small square here. When x is 45, 2.1. We have 45, 2.1. 2 squares above 2. This is 2. 2 small squares, that is. Put an x there. When x is 60, 1.5. 60, 1.5, easily located. Put a mark there. 75, 0.8 approximately. 75, 0.8. 0.8 will be 4 squares below 1. 4 squares, small squares below 1, or 1 small square after 0.5, because this is where we have 0.5, so 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. 90 degrees, 0, right on the line. 105 degrees, negative 0.75. So 105 approximately equal to negative 0.8. Let us put it at negative 0.8. Negative 0.8 is here. 120, negative 1.5. 120, negative 1.5 is here. 135, 135, we are now here, negative 3.9. 135, negative 3.9. So 135, negative 3.9. Negative 3. Sorry, at 135, negative 2.1. Sorry, at 135, negative 2.1. 2 small squares below negative 2 there. At 150, negative 2.6. 150, negative 2.6 is negative 2.5. Negative 2.6, 2 small squares. At 165, negative 2.9. 165, negative 2.9. Negative 2.9, 2 small squares above 3. That is where we are. And then at 180, negative 3. At 180, negative 3. After plotting your points, look at the nature of the curve. Look at the nature of the curve, top to bottom. Join those points using a smooth curve. Join all these points using a smooth curve. So we can start at the top. Like that. So we have that function. That function y is equals to 3 cos x. So that is the graph y is equals to 3 cos x. Y is equals to 3 cos x. Let us plot the other graph. The second function, when x is 0, y is negative 0.69. When x is 0, y is negative 0.69, approximately equal to negative 0.7. So negative 0.5 is here, negative 0.5 is here. Negative 0.7 will be 4 squares. 4 squares below negative 0.5. 4 small squares. That is where we have negative 0.7. When x is 15, y is 1.37. X is 15, y will be approximately 1.4. 1.4 will be 2 small squares below 1.5 here. 2 small squares below 1. No, not two small squares below 1.5. So this is where we have 1.5 and 1.4 will be here. At x is equals to 30, we have 3.1. At x is equals to 30, 3.1. 3.1 will be up here. 3.1 will be up here. 2 small squares after 3. Okay, and then when x is 45, 3.9. X is 45, 3.9. 3.9 will be 2 small squares below 4 here. At 60 degrees, we are here. X will be 3.8. Y will be 3.8. X 60, Y 3.8. So we have 60. 60 is here. And 3.8 will be 4 small squares below. 4 small squares below 4. So this is why we have 4 small squares, or 1 small square above 3. Yes, 3.8 will be 4 small squares below 4. Put your mark there. And then when x is 75, we are going to have it at 2.6. When x is 75, 2.6. 2.6 is 1 small square above 2.5. Put a mark there. When x is 90, y will be 0.7. 90 is here. 90 is here. 0.7 will be above 0.5. This is where we have 0.5. So 0.6, 0.7 is there. Put a mark. When x is 105, when x is 105, y will be negative 1.37, approximately equal to negative 1.4. 105, negative 1.4. Negative 1.4, 2 small squares below, 1 small square above 1.5, because this is where we have 1.5 here. So negative 1.4, 1 small square above. 120 degrees, at 120 degrees, negative 3.1. 120 degrees, negative 3.1. So 120, negative 3 is here. That is where we have negative 3, 120, negative 3, negative 3.1, two small squares below negative 3. Put a mark there. And then 135, negative 3.9. At 135, negative 3.9. Negative 3.9, two small squares above negative 4. There. And then at 150, negative 3.8. At 150, negative 3.8. Four small squares above negative 4 here. And then at 165, negative 2.6. 165 is here, negative 2.6 will be, this is negative 2.5 here. So according to our scale, negative 2.6 will be one small square below negative 2.5. And then at 180, negative 0.7. At 180, negative 0.7. So 180, negative 0.7, this is where we have negative 0.5. Negative 0.7 will be 4 squares below negative 0.5. 4 squares below, just up here. Now you can look at the trend of the points and then join them using a smooth curve again. So you can turn your graph paper, start from this point here, go up, like that. So this is a function y is equals to 4 sine x minus 10 degrees, like that. Now you're told to use our graph. You're told to use our graph to find the value of x for which 3 cos x is equals to 4 sine 2x minus 10. Now, for us to get this right, consider where the two functions intersect, and then drop or erect a perpendicular on the x-axis, and you read that particular value. Now you can look at the trend of the points and then join them using a smooth curve again. So you can turn your graph paper, start from this point here, go up, like that. So this is a function y is equals to 4 sine x minus 10 degrees, like that. Now you're told to use our graph. To find the value of x for which 3 cos x is equals to 4 sine 2x minus 10. Now, for us to get this right, consider where the two functions intersect, and then drop or erect a perpendicular on the x-axis, and you read that particular value. To solve our function where 3 cos x is equals to 4 sine 2x minus 10, we now need to consider where the two graphs intersect. And as I told you earlier, we drop a perpendicular onto the x-axis from this point, and if you look at that, it will be approximately 2 squares or 7 squares after 15, or 2 squares in between 15 and 30 degrees, the midpoint. So when you add these 2 squares, this will be equivalent to 7 squares. So our approximate value for x1, will be given by 15 degrees plus. According to our scale, one small square here will represent 1.5 degrees. So 15 plus 1.5 multiplied by 7. So 1.5 multiplied by 7 gives you 10.5. So 15 plus 10.5, that gives you 25.5. So this gives you approximately equal to 25.5. Of course, plus or minus 1 degree, the level of accuracy. For the other part, we come back here where the two graphs are intersecting. We erect a perpendicular onto the x-axis, and the value is between 90 and 105. So that value here is 5 small squares. So it will be, the value of x2 will be equal to 90 degrees plus 1.5 times 5 small squares. And when you simplify that, you're going to get 90 plus 7.5. So approximately equal to 97.5 degrees plus or minus 1. And then the final value, erect a perpendicular again from this to the x-axis. When you erect a perpendicular like that, you're going to get approximately 2 small squares before 165, or after 150, after this point, which is 5, we add 3 small squares. When you add 3 small squares, we are going to get 8. So that value, x3 will be equal to 150 degrees plus 1.5 times 8. So when you simplify this, you're going to get 150 degrees plus 12 approximately equal to 162 degrees plus or minus 1 degree. That will be the level of accuracy. So you may wonder how the 10 marks may be distributed, though that one should not worry you. It is the work of the examiner to do that. The most important thing is for you to know how to plot this particular graph and answer the questions that are required of you. So just to give you a small hint of how the 10 marks can be distributed, if you fill the table correct, you get a total of 2 marks. So it will be abbreviated T2. The scale S1, like that. Plotting the first curve, plotting the points correct, P1, drawing the curve, C1. For the second curve, plotting correct, P1, drawing the curve again correct, C1. So we have so far a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for these values here, when you get them to the nearest level of accuracy, this will be given B1, B1, B1. So the total marks to be awarded in that type of a question, you will get T10. So that is how the examiner might end up marking such a question. So thank you for watching. Kindly like, subscribe and share.